same number as in Francis Bacon's method in Cryptomenitices et Cryptographiae. The cipher reveals in the top shape F-A-I-N-S-C-R, an anagram of Francis in a perfectly symmetrical shape. Below that occurred a crucifix. From top to bottom, N, O, B, C, and A, a symmetrical anagram of Bacon. And on the penultimate line, with a V for a U, A, T, O, R, H. In total, author. Francis Bacon, author. The phrase in the inscription, whose name doth deck tomb, convinced Thomas Bokenham. The cruciform anagram, Bacon, surrounds the word tomb, or bedecks it, whose name doth deck his tomb. Bacon is the name. Finally, a cipher found in this text, the dedication to the first folio of 1626, which Alan Strip also examined at my request. It turned out to have a possible relevance to Poets' Corner. Thomas Bokenham claims very strong indications of cipher at Westminster, on a par with the inscription at Holy Trinity, Stratford upon Avon, but we will not consider those in this communication. The final part of the first folio dedication includes these words: "And the most, though the meanest of things, are made more precious when they are dedicated to temples. In that name, therefore, we most humbly consecrate to your honourables the remains of your servant Shakespeare." Ewan Macduff, a Shakespearean actor and an associate of Thomas Bokenham, laid out the dedication in full, each line of text given a line to itself. In a column above the name Shakespeare rises B-N-O-A-C, obviously an anagram of Bacon, capped by the U shape of another anagram, E-M-E-S-P-L-T, which retranslates as temples. On the scroll on the monument to Shakespeare, erected in 1741, millions of visitors must wonder exactly what it is the bard points at so insistently. The word temples. This frontispiece is from an emblem book by Henry Peacham, in which one page, dedicated to Sir Francis Bacon, Knight, shows the arm of a concealed poet with the inscription, "By the mind I shall be seen." On the title page of New Atlantis by Francis Bacon, published in 1627, a maiden is helped from a cave by the familiar figure with a scythe. The inscription, "Time brings forth the hidden truth."
Okay, so why is that video important? Why is it important that Francis Bacon basically is responsible for Shakespeare? Why is it important that he hit all these codes? Well, what people don't know is, first of all, Francis Bacon was of the Rosicrucian order. So was King James. Now, the Rosicrucian order was founded by a man named Christian Rosicrucians. And it's basically, it uses symbols and codes and mathematics to hide the true nature of the universe, to hide the truth about God, to hide the truth about everything. It's a secret society. Now, something you got to ask yourself is, if these people wanted to tell us about religion, why give us the Bible and not give us the truth and the secrets that they have in this Rosicrucian order or in these other secret societies? Why are they hiding the truth from us? What is it about the truth that they feel like they need to hide from us? Think about that. The simple fact that they are in a secret society tells you that they can't be telling us the truth because they're hiding secrets. So what we have and we think is true religion, obviously cannot be. Obviously, because they have a secret and they're not telling you, but they gave you something which is obviously not the secret, because they would just say, hey, join the society, then you'll know everything. But they didn't do that. They gave us a book, and we're not even supposed to know that the society exists, the secret societies. Now, another thing that people don't know, Francis Bacon helped revise the King James Bible.
His script dealt with the burial of kings and queens, particularly Dean Stanley's researches in the last century. James I would have known about Bacon's Tudor blood, and though he knighted him and made him his Lord Chancellor in his time, he might have cut off his head if he had ever represented a threat to his throne.
He called on Francis Bacon. He actually gave him the manuscripts that was used to create the King James Bible, and Francis Bacon had them for over a year before he came back with his revised version of the King James Bible. A man who was a part of an order that when you study the order, you find Satanism, coupled with a man who wrote a book called Demonology, gave you your King James Bible. But that's not all. First, take a look at this.
The Shakespeare controversy was illustrated quite clearly by Masonic author Manly P. Hall in his book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, where he reveals the veiled purpose behind the writing of the plays. He says, Sir Francis Bacon, the Rosicrucian initiate, wrote into the Shakespearean plays the secret teachings of the fraternity of the Rose and Cross, and the true rituals of the Masonic order. The Bacon-Shakespeare controversy involves the most profound aspects of science, religion, and ethics. He who solves its mystery may yet find therein the key to the supposedly lost wisdom of antiquity. Never before seen,
Bacon was talking about this new nation, talking about submarines, talking about unimaginable weapons of war, talking about flying machines and tall buildings. How did he come into possession of this knowledge?
Did Francis Bacon outline the course of the new world before its time? And if so, by what power was he inspired to do so? While there are no states or cities that bear his name, his mysterious influence has compelled some to call him the real and true founder of America.
His founding of America was really through other people who were following his work, following the program he'd laid out.
Bacon was the head of Freemasonry and Rosicrucianism.
He had a huge influence through being the chief of the Rosicrucian fraternity at the time. He had a huge influence on the birth of modern Freemasonry, and many of those Rosicrucians actually went into Freemasonry at that time to lift it up to its new level. And Freemasonry has a major influence on the founding of America.
The Rosicrucian Order, with its modern headquarters in San Jose, California, has for centuries been linked to Freemasonry.
Well, you have to understand that Freemasonry is simply the modern-day manifestation of the ancient mystery religions. The ideas of Masonry have been around literally for thousands of years. And of course, Rosicrucianism was simply a forerunner of modern-day Masonry.
The order takes its name from its primary symbol, the rose and cross. Like Masonry, the Rosicrucians traced their religion to the mysteries of ancient Egypt.
Now, see, I like to give you proof when I say things. Sometimes I like to show you that other people came to these same conclusions, but that's not the deepest part of it all. Now, Benjamin Franklin, one of the forefathers of America, guess what?
Yet there is no debate about the Masonic membership of Benjamin Franklin, who is deeply involved not only with Masonry, but a whole variety of secret societies in America, in England, and in France. Societies that had everything to do with his success during the American Revolutionary War.
Benjamin Franklin is a very paradoxical, complex fellow, as might be expected for someone who was such a great genius. But At times he seems like he's a Christian. At times he seems like he's a scoundrel. At times it seems like he's a Luciferian, and at times it seems like he's a Rosicrucian.
He was a strange character, Benjamin Franklin, a sort of a shuttle diplomat between Philadelphia and Paris and London, England.
He was, of course, an ambassador in Europe, and when he was over in Europe, he became a member of a group called the Hellfire Club.
In his book, The Secret Destiny of America, Hall writes of Franklin's involvement with the plan of Francis Bacon. In Chapter 13, titled Bacon's Secret Society Set Up in America, Hall features an illustration showing the eastern seaboard with Benjamin Franklin overseeing it, while beside him is the shadow of Bacon. Hall claims that Franklin spoke for the secret societies and that most of the men who worked with him in the early days of the American Revolution were also members. He says, quote, "The plan was working out. The new Atlantis was coming into being in accordance with the program laid down by Francis Bacon."
Yeah, he was of the Rosicrucian order as well. Benjamin Franklin, a founding father of America. So this takes us all the way back to the beginning of the video when I was telling you that this was a setup from the jump, and America was being put together as the Freemasons taking power.
When our founders declared a new order of the ages, they were acting on an ancient hope that is meant to be fulfilled.
The very first that we know of occult beachhead in America was Rosicrucian. I was out on a speaking tour recently, and I had the opportunity to visit the Ephrata Cloister, it's called, in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. And it's where the original Rosicrucian community built its headquarters, right on the east coast of the United States. And that was in the 1600s. And right about the same time that Christianity was establishing its beachhead in America, so was the Rosicrucian order.
And Benjamin Franklin was an insider the whole time, helping to set this whole thing up. Because you got to remember, and he wrote about it in his own memoirs, in his own autobiography, it was Ben Franklin who went back to Britain. He went back to England. And he was the one who told the king, King George III, that, hey, we're using colonial script. We're not using that bull crap that y'all using as money. We're using colonial script, and guess what? This colonial script is completely fiat. It is not backed by gold. It's a fiat currency that we created, that we're using, and it's not backed by any gold. And that's what sparked King George III to say, hey, we don't want no colonial script. We want gold and silver. And as he wrote in his autobiography, because of the taxes that was instilled upon them, because they can't really afford the gold and silver, it was the prime reason why the Revolutionary War started. And guess what? He was an insider, and he instigated the whole thing because it was the setup. And the proof is here. Okay, so what does all of this have to do with 2015, 2016? Now, you remember I was showing you before how you can find Shakespeare in the Bible. Psalms 46, 46 words down, you get shake, 46 words up, you get spear. It just so happens that in 2011, Barack Obama actually read Psalms 46 at the 9/11 memorial. Now, as I said, they use symbolism in everything because 2011 is not 11. You got 11, and you got 11 minus 2 gives you 9. They use that may not be nothing to you. It may be like, okay, coincidence, but it's not a coincidence. They use numerology in everything. But I want you to take a look and listen to what Psalms 46 is about, and you tell me if it's appropriate or not for this event.
God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear. Even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though its waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling. There is a river, whose streams shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her just at the break of dawn. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttered his voice, the earth melted. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Come behold the works of the Lord, who has made desolations in the earth. He makes wars cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in two. He burns the chariot in fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge.
Shakespeare, it's a synonym for Apollo and Pallas Athena. They're both known as shakers of the spear in classical tradition, and the spear represents a ray of light, a ray of wisdom, and they shake that spear at the dragon of ignorance. Exactly what Ben Jonson says in his preface to the Shakespeare Folio, to shake a lance at the dragon of ignorance. And this is the role of an Apollo or Pallas Athena. And they have always been the muses of the other 9 muses, who themselves are the muses of all the writers, poets, artists, and so on in history. So Apollo and Athena are the great inspirers. They're the great Shakespeares.
Bacon incorporated these Greek gods within a key symbol, the AA headpiece representing Apollo and Athena. Usually one of the A's is shaded, denoting a light and dark side. This symbol is found printed at the head of certain pages within the Shakespeare Folio and among the acknowledged works of Francis Bacon. Of the two polarities, Apollo and Athena, it was Athena that seemed to dominate Bacon's imagination.
Pallas Athena was, she shook her spear at the eyes of ignorance. So she was the spear shaker. Now, she's always been known as the spear shaker. That was long before the time of Bacon. Back to the Greeks, the spear shaker. So he took that name, spear shaker, and just turned it around to make it Shakespeare. And it used to be written with a hyphen, and then it became one word, Shakespeare, as the name of the playwright for those Shakespearean plays.
So what does this have to do with anything? And I know it's common sense for other people's, and to some people it's not. But Psalms 46, Shakespeare, Francis Bacon put that in there to reveal himself as the writer of the Bible, as the person who coded it. And Obama was reading that verse to reveal himself as the Antichrist, because the Bible says the Antichrist will reveal himself. Now, it's so many different Masonic things I can go into just by Psalms 46 and the reading of that verse that would just totally convince you. I'm not going to go into all that. You should be convinced enough. Now, when I say Antichrist, I'm not talking about some boogeyman demon thing that you heard about in the Bible. I'm talking about as the figure, the representative of what the Antichrist is going to bring. Because everything that the devil does in the Bible, man does. It's just that simple. All of the destruction and all of the stuff that's going on, man does it. Men do these things. You don't need to go to hell to experience the torture that the devil was talking about, because you can experience that here on earth. It's bullshit. Don't get caught up in it. So, you remember, Francis Bacon was a master at codes. He showed you the different ciphers that he used to code things. He was a genius at it. And I asked you before, I posed the question, how do you speak to each other in a world of secrecy? when nobody else can know, you use the Bible. And that's how they have done it. They've used the Bible, they've used the Torah, and they've used the Quran to speak to each other in secret societies using codes that Francis Bacon first started. All they did was evolve the code. So when you had these revisions of the Bible since 1611, it was the codes changing. And I believe since 1650 was the last time they admit they revised the Bible, I believe it has kept going. But now I believe they're done and they have a new way because the codes say something different. And you can go on the internet and find this code stuff, but it's so many different things. But all you really need to do is take the Bible, take the words. The problem is you don't know which book, chapter, and verse to use, but take certain books and chapters and take it back to its original Hebrew language, or its original Greek or Syriac language, and you can decipher it that way. Now, I did a short video, I did a long video actually, but I took time out to show you that point and to prove to you that when you take these words back to its original language, the stories change. Now, I'm going to show you that clip from an older video where I prove this point and reveal to you what the Bible really is saying. Take a look. Now, this process is called etymology. Now, when we start taking these words back to its original Hebrew language, you'll see that they have different meanings. And I'm going to be showing you proof that these words say this, because I don't want people to think I'm just making this stuff up. Now, I won't be doing all the words because some of the words mean exactly the same in Hebrew, and it's too many words to do. It would take too long for me to do every word and to show proof of every word. And I'm actually going to be doing Genesis 11, 1 through 9. Now, I'm going to be reading from a King James version of the Bible. Genesis chapter 11 verses 1 through 9. And you can go ahead and get your own Bible and read it for yourself if you want. Just pause the video, or you can just follow along with me. Now, I'm going to read from 1 through 9 first. Then we're going to go through each verse, and we're going to go through and take some of the words and translate them back to its original Hebrew language and see what the real meaning is, and then see how the story changed. So let's get into it. Okay, Genesis chapter 11 verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto the heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men have builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them that they have imagined to do. Verse 7. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. Now, the first thing, and this is what I mean when I say people lose all common sense when they start reading the Bible. Now, the story is about a people, a smart people. The Bible says that nothing will be restrained from them from which they have imagined to do. So these people were apparently smart. Were they bad? Were they evil? Were they more powerful than God? No. Does the story say anything about these people doing anything wrong? No. So why did God go down there and scatter them abroad and change their language so they couldn't understand each other? Now, here's the part a lot of people miss. Now, if God went down there and scattered them and confounded their language so they couldn't understand each other, how did the Tower of Babel get built? Now, Babel means a confused noise made by a number of voices, or a confusing situation. Now, these people were scattered and they was confused to the point where they couldn't understand each other. How did they manage to build the complicated Tower of Babel?